Can have as much impact on your life as anyone in Congress. We're likely to discover a surge of bad behavior in state houses across the land. Behavior that ranges from creepy to criminal. Brian Ross tells us just how far the decay has spread.
In state houses across the country, while few have been watching, a California lawmaker was caught on tape talking about his sexual conquest. Texas legislators were seen casting votes for their absent colleague. A New York state senator was seen assaulting his girlfriend. A Massachusetts lawmaker was caught on FBI cameras stuffing a bribe into her bra. And in one state after another, powerful state lawmakers who control hundreds of millions of dollars in spending have been sent to prison after taking envelopes full of cash from undercover FBI agents. Our ABC News investigation found that in the last 5 years, at least 80 state lawmakers have been indicted or convicted on corruption charges.
State officials are absolutely on our sides, and when it comes to this kind of cases, we're going to use wiretaps. We use undercovers. We're going to use the exact same techniques that historically we've used when prosecuting organized crime or violent crime.
The growing attention to what's happening at state houses came as the country's most prominent state lawmakers gathered for their annual convention this summer in Louisville, Kentucky.
The influential group of leaders that we've ever had.
And over the course of 4 days, the influential leaders from 50 states and Puerto Rico allowed themselves to be wined and dined and entertained by big corporations, labor unions, and lobbyists. Like bees to honey, lawmakers drawn to money and the good times they can buy, all perfectly legal.
One thing you can say about Louisville, Kentucky is that they know how to
The blowout parties for the state lawmakers are apparently an annual tradition at their convention. But what was different this year was the presence of 5 graduate school journalists on assignment for ABC News, with cameras out in the open and tough questions.
Do you think taxpayers back home would like to see their legislators partying it up at Churchill Downs?
They probably wouldn't like it, but if they don't like most of the things that we do.
The students' footage provides a rare glimpse of what watchdog groups say is an unholy alliance that has been forged between lawmakers and lobbyists in the country's state capitals. Not something they were always eager to have seen on national television. One sponsor tried to hide the names of the companies throwing a party.
Did you just not film it all?
Okay. What's wrong with the sign? Is that a problem?
There's nothing wrong with the sign. It's just a private event.
Again and again, we were told to stop taking pictures of the country's top state lawmakers.
Because we normally don't allow media at these events because the elected officials get worried. They're all running campaigns, and I know you probably have that.
The parties at night were non-stop. Big-name country music entertainers brought in to perform. Fine Kentucky bourbon flowing freely, leading to some unwanted attention aimed at one of the student journalists, Alyssa Nuka, who found herself cornered and kissed by a lawmaker from Puerto Rico, Jorge Navarro Suarez. He later said that because he has difficulty understanding English, he was just trying to get close so he could hear her better over the noise of the party.
When public officials act in this kind of way, it really raises the question of whether they're fit to serve and represent their public.
Ellen Miller is the executive director of the Sunlight Foundation, a nonpartisan watchdog group that follows the multi-million-dollar money trail to state capitals.
The sophisticated players play not just at the federal level, they also play at the state level.
It wasn't all parties at the lawmakers' convention. During the day, there were speeches by national leaders and sessions on important issues, including budget deficits and layoffs.
Given the economy, the states are cutting back, and this gives them the opportunity to pool their resources, really, and the information they have.
When you go to a conference of 4 days, no one expects me to be 24 hours a day for all 4 days in a meeting room.
There was also a session on the need for integrity in state government.
Integrity, meaning ethics, is a very big part of what's important today, particularly in the public eye.
But that message was not heard by some, including this group of Alabama lawmakers who were on the golf course at the same time as the ethics panel, hosted by a lobbyist for the state's gambling and bingo interests.
And, you know, are you out here golfing instead of attending the conference, or?
No, I'm out here, I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say?
Nope.
And how are you doing?
If you don't want me to take this to you, gentlemen, leave.
But what happened on the golf course and at the parties in Louisville pales in comparison to what the students found elsewhere this summer in their investigation.
Unbecoming conduct is unbecoming conduct, whether you're on vacation or, speaking on the floor of the assembly. It's shocking, frankly.
In California, the lawmaker bragging about his sexual conquest did so on an open mic at a committee hearing, talking about a young female lobbyist.
I'm a spanker. You are? Yeah, I like it.
The New York State Senator, caught on tape assaulting his girlfriend, was kicked out of office and just yesterday indicted on separate charges of corruption. In Massachusetts, 3 successive speakers of the House have been indicted or convicted, not to mention the lawmaker who took a bribe from an FBI undercover and stuffed the cash in her bra.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz.
But by far the biggest State House corruption case in recent years was in Tennessee. Named after the state's signature song, Operation Tennessee Waltz revealed a shameful culture of corruption inside the State House in Nashville. Undercover FBI cameras were rolling as 5 of the state's leading politicians accepted envelopes full of cash from an undercover FBI agent.
It made me heartsick every time they gave them an envelope full of cash. There was no joy in bringing down state representatives or senators.
And the price of corruption is high. In New Jersey, the FBI found one state lawmaker taking a bribe so developers could build on the state's Barnegat Bay, one of the most endangered estuaries in the country.
If someone pushes hard enough, they always get their permit, no matter how bad the project is, no matter how much hurts the environment.
In an exchange recorded in Atlantic City at a Morton steakhouse, New Jersey Assemblyman Daniel Van Pelt does business with an FBI undercover operative posing as a developer, offering $10,000 in cash to help get building permits along the bay.
So you let me know what I can do for you, sir?
Well, I want to, get you on my team. Little something to start.
Well, I'll hold on to it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Okay. That's like we spoke about, $10,000.
I don't know, hold on to it.
Okay.
And I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
That's fine.
I like it.
You're my man.
With you, I do it for free.
The lawmaker later deposited the $10,000 in his checking account. Now convicted and awaiting sentencing, Van Pelt told Carnegie fellow Kevin Morris he didn't mean to take a bribe, it just happened so fast.
I think we were going to Valley Parking, and, he kind of thrust the envelope on me, and boy, I wish you just don't slow things down in your mind like that, because you don't have that criminal mentality. I mean, who thinks that someone's going to try to bribe a public official?
But federal prosecutors say it happens all the time. Earlier this month, a federal grand jury in Alabama indicted 4 state lawmakers and 7 others connected to the state's gambling interests. All have pleaded not guilty. Senior Justice Department officials say similar cases around the country are in the works. Our investigation found that state ethics rules vary widely. In some states, lobbyists are not permitted to give as much as a cup of coffee or a low-cost meal to a lawmaker. But in Alabama, by contrast, a lobbyist can give a lawmaker $250 a day without even reporting it. That's $90,000 a year.